Good morning. My name is Ray Festa.
And I'm Andy Tupper.
We're members of the maintenance team here at the Garden of the Seven Sisters, and we're going to be recording a series of videos for in-service training for our San Luis Obispo County Master Gardener volunteers. And this topic is going to be about the irrigation system and its various components here in the Garden of Seven Sisters.
If you find a leak when you're working in the garden, or if you see there is a water problem, we're going to show you where some of the shut-off valves are and how to shut them off and how a ball valve works. And so that if you're out here and you can save some water for us, that would be great. This is a ball valve, and you only turn it 90 degrees to turn it off. It's on right now because it's parallel with the pipe. When you turn it off, it's now closed and it's across the pipe, just like a dam across a brook. So,
okay, we're going to start our tour of the irrigation system up here behind the Ag Department building, and we're going to show you where the location is for our main connection to the water line that feeds the building. So we're here behind the Ag Department building. Off the parking lot, you come up the stairway, and then about 5 steps past the stairway, under the bushes, is our main water connection, which is this, that comes off the main line that feeds the building. This is the connection that leads down to the demonstration garden. And there's a backflow preventer here, a backflow device, and the purpose of this device is to prevent water from backing up into the domestic water system. So the only thing I want to show here is that there are 2 shutoff valves, and the only one we want to be concerned about is the one closest to the building. And if there was ever a water problem, a water break of any kind between this point behind the building and, say, the greenhouse, this would be the place to shut the water off. And how you do that is there's 2 blue handles here, and you would just take the blue handle that's closest to the building and you'd turn it up, straight up 90 degrees, or a 1/4 turn, and it'll hit a stop, and that shuts the water into the off position. To open it, you just push this valve back down so it's aligned with the pipe, and that makes the valve open and restores the water back to the garden. Next, we're going to head back down the stairs towards the parking lot and show you where the water meter location is, which is approximately behind the dumpster area in the parking lot.
okay, this is where our water meter is located. It's just off the parking lot next to the charging thing for the electric cars. You don't need to do anything here. It's simply, we're just showing you where the water meter is in case you need to come in and check how much the flow is. There is a thing on here that will show you if water is leaking. There's a little dial down there that spins if the water is on somewhere in the park. It may be a leak, or maybe somebody has their irrigation on, and so you will be able to see in here that the water is flowing somewhere in the garden.
The next major component we wanted to show you is called our master control valve, and it's located down the hill from the water meter behind the greenhouse, and it's enclosed in this box. And the purpose of this control valve is to shut the water off at nighttime to the entire garden, so that in the event we had a leak during the night, the water wouldn't run all night long. And then it's programmed so that in the morning it comes back on, restores water to the garden so that we have pressure throughout the day. This master valve is controlled by a little solar panel right here, which provides the electrical power for this valve. So inside this master control valve, there are a number of ball valve shutoffs. 2 of them have blue handles, 1 of them has a green handle. And there's an illustration picture of this device with all of the valves and a description here on how to turn the valves off and for different situations in the garden, so that if you wanted to, the water was running through this valve, this control valve, you'd want these two valves in the open position. But if there was a problem with this valve malfunctioning, we could shut these two valves here off and open the valve below, which would bypass this device and still put water directly through to the garden. And all of that is explained on this information chart right here. Okay, so a close-up of the valves here in this valve box. We have two blue handles, and these are for ball valves. And these two valves would control the water flow through this master valve here. So they're in the open position now. You can see the handles are straight in line with the pipe. To close them, and there are arrows on here that show you a closed and open position. But to close this, we would just turn it 90 degrees like that, or it's in a cross position, and that would be closed. And then again, a 90-degree position, and then to open it would be straight in line there.
Ray mentioned the inside of the box. This is the programmable solar valve controller here, and it's only programmable for 5 hours and 59 minutes. So twice a day, the power goes off, the water goes off for approximately 5 minutes while it resets. It comes on approximately 6 o'clock. It goes off at around 10:30, comes back on, and then goes off again around 3 o'clock. So if you happen to be working in the garden during those times and suddenly lose water pressure, just wait 5 minutes and the water will come back on and you can continue whatever you're doing.
We're here now in front of the greenhouse gate, and there are two valve boxes here, and this rectangular valve box is the most important thing for the master gardeners to know, because it is the main shutoff for the garden, the water going into the garden. If there's ever a water leak in the demonstration garden or a water line break, this rectangular box, the valve inside this box, is where our volunteers would want to head to shut the water off. This circular box is a pressure reducing valve, which takes the pressure from 100 psi down to 50 psi in the garden. But this circular box, most people won't have to deal with that at all. The valve, the shut-off valve, is in this rectangular box. Okay, to access the valve, you just simply lift the lid off. You don't need a key. Lift the lid off, and then there's a red handled ball valve on. And again, just like all ball valves, if the handle is parallel to the pipe, it's in the open position. If you turn it 90 degrees, so it's perpendicular to the pipe, it's in the closed position.
We're at the corner of the pergola, and we're looking at some of the control valves for the grass area, but what we want to talk about is this valve down here, which controls the water to the BIOSWALE, which is outside the area. This is the valve that controls the water to the BIOSWALE. If you happen to come into the parking lot and see a leak in the BIOSWALE, this is where you find the ball valve to turn off that water, and it doesn't affect the rest of the garden. If you're going to work in the garden and maybe work on irrigation, you might want to know where some of the other shut-off valves are in the garden. And we have a map inside that shows the location of those valves. Okay, here we are inside the shed. The map plot plan for the irrigation is right over the top of the first aid kit. You can simply unhook it, bring it down, and take a closer look at it. And you can see where the different the main valves are in the corners of the garden.
So thank you for watching our video. I hope it's been helpful and educational, and I hope it helps you. If you run into a problem in the garden, at least you can take care of it immediately and then let us know. Thank you.